A young man of 17 with auburn hair and green eyes groaned, unable to sleep, as he laid upon his bed staring up at the dark ceiling above him. Beside him was his best friend, his dragon, who seemed to be asleep peacefully. The young man had one arm behind his head, the other draped over his midsection. He hadn't bothered to change it out of his armor, having a feeling he'll only be heading out again soon for another dragon rescue. This can't be all there is. He sighed, closing his eyes, thinking back 16 years ago. Flashback. The shouting of orders from the chief, screams of terror from the children and their mothers, but alas, a nearly 1-year-old baby lying in his cradle, cooing contentedly as a dragon ripped open the wall of the home and entered to see the child there. The noise frightened the child, but then the dragon used its claw to rock the cradle carefully, and the infant settled some. The dragon leaned in close to inspect the child, sniffing it, but the child reached for the dragon's face, taking it by surprise. The dragon lifted its claw and let the children grasp, but it slowly and giggle happily. From the door, a woman with autumn hair and green eyes rushed in, holding a sword to strike the dragon down, but she paused, watching as her son and the dragon played. The cradle slipped as the dragon's claw cut the infant on the right side of his chin. The dragon turned its attention onto the woman holding the sword. It was then she realized this wasn't a vicious beast, but an intelligent, gentle creature whose soul reflected her own. Before anything else happened, a large man, chief of the tribe, burst in, throwing his axe and scaring the dragon, who attacked, lighting the home on fire. The woman pleaded for the dragon to stop, but it moved towards the child and the woman, rushing over to hold the crying infant. "Volker, hold on!" the chief cried out as he rolled to avoid another blast from the dragon, who now stared at the woman once more, sniffing her with wide eyes and a smile. It grabbed her arm as she clutched her infant in her free arm tightly so he didn't fall. The dragon took off outside, leaving with the other dragons. "Volker!" the chief cried out in despair. "Stoic!" The woman yelled back, but it was too late. She was already gone from his sight, and so was their son in her arms. 4 years later,
Mama?
came the voice of a young boy whose hair was lightening from its dark brown to auburn.
Yes, Hiccup?
His mother replied.
How come it's just you, me, and the dragons?
The small boy, Hiccup, asked her curiously. The mother, Volker, sighed, now facing him.
Because people are bad, son. All they want to do is hurt the dragons. And it's our job to protect them,
Volker replied.
But we know dragons aren't bad. Can't you show them?
Hiccup tilted his head to the left.
They wouldn't listen. They believe what they want to believe. People are incapable of change, Hiccup. Some minds won't be changed, and some eyes cannot see the truth because they refuse to.
Volker looked to her 5-year-old.
No. Why don't you go run along and play with Toothless? Mommy is very busy planning the next dragon rescue, she added.
Hiccup nodded and rushed over to play with his dragon, his Night Fury that was his best friend. They were the same age according to his mother. Hiccup named him Toothless when he was 4 because of the retractable teeth, but alas, the two were near impossible to separate. 3 years more. An 8-year-old Hiccup was very excited. He was leaning to fly a dragon like his mother did, and she said if he did good, then he could help with the dragon rescues.
Mom! Mom! You promised!
Hiccup shook his mother awake from her slumber. Volker groggily opened her eyes and looked at him before rolling over to her side.
Hiccup, I am very tired right now. I'll teach you another day. A long night of rescuing,
she said. Hiccup huffed angrily. She promised to teach him.
You always say that,
Hiccup pouted.
Hiccup, I am the only one who cares about the dragons. I have to protect them from cruel, heartless people like your father was, and the entire village we came from. I won't allow dragons to suffer by the hands of Vikings ever again, Volker stated firmly. You promised to teach me how to fly Toothless.
Hiccup protested again, stomping his foot on the ground.
Hiccup! Get out of my room and go back to sleep! It's not even sunrise! Now move it!
Volker ordered harshly. Hiccup forked the tears as he turned and ran out of the room, slamming her bedroom door. Volker sighed, plopping her head back down in the pillow in defeat. Hiccup rushed to the sanctuary where Toothless was laying near the water on his heated rock. The dragon sensed his friend's sadness and went to confront him by wrapping it around his body and purring softly.
She promised me, Toothless.
Hiccup whimpered.
She promised that she'll teach me to fly you today. All she cared about all the dragons. Not me.
Hiccup put his head down as the dragon licked his face and stood up, lowering it so Hiccup could get on his back.
But Mum said I couldn't ride you until she taught me.
If she ever does, Hiccup mumbled. Deciding he no longer cared, he climbed onto his friend's back and held on tightly. Toothless darted into the sky, flying around with Hiccup on it. The boy was laughing and having fun, so the dragon knew he'd done a good thing.
I don't need Mom to teach me. I can do this without her,
Hiccup said firmly, as the two proceeded to do a bunch of loops, flips, upside down flying, and more. Hiccup even managed to learn how to ride Toothless without sitting on it. He was standing and keeping perfect balance. He loved it. Needless to say, when his mother did wake up and saw him flying around on Toothless, he was grounded for 2 weeks for pulling such a stunt. But it was worth it, because now he knew how to fly. 4 years later. And now 11-year-old Hiccup was geared up and ready for the mission. He had been doing them since he was 9, but finally his mother was letting him do one alone, since it was a big fortress and she needed help to free dragons that had been captured. His gear consisted of black armor, grey clothes, black boots and pants, along with a black mask to conceal himself and hide in the shadows with Toothless. Remember, Hiccup, free the dragons and fly away. Do not stay and talk. Don't forget why I do this. Yeah, Mom, I know. Protect the dragons from heartless people who won't change. I got it. Vikings are bad, dragons are good. Hiccup rolled his eyes as he mounted Toothless. The two took off towards the location, his mother and the dragon club jump right behind. Once at the location of the trappers, Hiccup saw the cages and dragons within them. Alright, Toothless. Let's do this, bud. Hiccup smiled beneath the mask as they dive bomb in and his dragon shot a blast at the cages, opening 5 of them. The dragons emerged and flew off. Toothless ordered the dragons with a roar to follow, and they did. Hiccup took close to 20 dragons with him back to the safety of the ice net, where he and his mother resided. The mission was a complete success. He saved 20 dragons all by himself. Well, with Toothless too, but still his mother hadn't needed to help him at all. Hiccup and Toothless were waiting at the nest for 6 hours before his mother returned with an entire flock of dragons. How many did you save? Volker said. 20 all at once, Hiccup said proudly, but his mother didn't look thrilled at all. Not enough, Hiccup. You're lucky I went back and checked your area because there were 3 other cages with 2 dragons each in them, and more on the south side of the fort, Volker said. Toothless didn't have any more shots, though, so we left like you said to come. Can't you just be happy for what I did do? Hiccup yelled back. No! You almost condemned 15 dragons to death. This is all we have, Hiccup. Saving dragons. This is what we do. This is who we are, or at least it's who I am. I don't think you care enough, Volker stated. I do care! I'm only 11 more. Look. How much do you think I can do? Hiccup shot back. You ride a night fury. You could have done a lot more. Valka said, then walked away. Hiccup couldn't believe it. He did so good. Saving 20 dragons in a matter of 10 minutes wasn't good enough for her. And she thought he didn't care about dragons. It irritated him to no end to know his mother cared more about the dragons than the safety of her own son. And she cared more about them, period. Hiccup stalked off to his room angrily, his dragon followed. End flashback. Hiccup opened his green eyes now, staring blankly up still. Ever since that day 6 years ago, his mother had basically ignored him and his entire existence. They barely spoke at all, but she refused to let him leave on Toothless. And when it came to dragon saving, she just told him to give what he could and she'll pick up his slack because she wouldn't allow dragons to suffer. God, he hated him so much. He just wanted to leave on Toothless. One day he would, when the time was right. Hiccup knew there was more to him than just being a dragon rider, and there was more to life than rescuing dragons. Hiccup knew people were capable of change. After all, his mother changed when she was taken. Hiccup wanted to know about his life, the former one before they were taken. He didn't believe everyone was bad. Maybe he just didn't understand because no one ever showed him. One day, Toothless, I'll find where I belong, Hiccup said, reaching over and rubbing his friend's head. This can't be all I am. This can't be me. Hiccup finally let sleep take him.